Assalamualaikum. My name is Mardhiah, and today me and my groupmates will be talking about the moral value of the nightingales and the roses. Before jumping to the moral values, let's briefly talk about the short story. The Nightingale and the Rose is a touching fairy tale by Oscar Wilde. It tells the story of a young student who desires a red rose to win the affection of a girl that he loves. The nightingale, who overhears his sorrow, decides to help him. She learns that the only way to produce a red rose is by sacrificing her life. She then presses her breast against the thorn and sings all night, staining the rose with her blood. In the morning, the student then finds the rose and eagerly presents it to the girl. However, she rejects it, preferring the jewels given by another admirer. Disillusioned, the student then dismisses the love as foolish and returns to his studies, while the nightingale's selfless sacrifice goes unappreciated. The story explores themes of love, sacrifice, and the superficiality of human desire. Moving on to the moral values. We will share 3 moral values from the short story according to the characters. First of all, the moral value from the character Nightingale in The Nightingale and the Rose is selfless love. This value is evident through the nightingale's willingness to sacrifice her life to help the student obtain the red rose he needs to win the girl's affection. In the story, the nightingale hears the student's sorrow and decides to help him even though it requires a great sacrifice. She approaches several rose trees until she finds one that can produce a red rose, but only if she gives her life by pressing her breast against a thorn and singing all night. The nightingale reflects on the value of love, concluding that love is worth more than life itself. Yet, love is better than life. And what is the heart of a bird compared to the heart of a man? This demonstrates her selfless nature as she values the student's happiness over her own life. An example of her selfless act is when the nightingale sings with her breast against the thorn, allowing her lifeblood to create the red rose. Despite the pain and the ultimate cost, she continues to sing until the rose is complete. All night long she sang, and the thorn went deeper and deeper into her breast, and her lifeblood ebbed away from her. This act of ultimate sacrifice represents selfless love, showing that true love sometimes requires putting others' needs and happiness above one's own. That's all from me, and
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Masami Azrin and I will be continuing the second moral value that has in the story of the Nightingales and the Rose by Oscar Wilde. So the second moral value is the ignorance of true love, which is the student's inability to appreciate the nightingale's sacrifice, reflects his superficial understanding of love. He fails to recognize and value the depth of the nightingale's sacrifice, indicating a shallow perception of love. So, the lesson learned by the student in the story is the love superficiality and rejection. In the story, the student learned that his love is not reciprocated and that his romantic ideals are not shared by the girl he loved. Her rejection based on materialistic value teaches him that not all people value love in the same way. As for example from the story, in the page 6, when the student offered the red rose to the girl. She replies, "I am afraid it will not go with my dress," and prioritized the jewels given by the chamberlain's nephew, stating that the jewel cost far more than flowers. As for the second lesson that the student learned is the realization of misplaced priorities. The student shift back to the study philosophy and metaphysics reflect his realization that his priorities were misplaced. He learned that pursuing an idealized and reciprocated love was less meaningful than focusing on his academic pursuit. As for example from the story, in the page 7, the student returned to his room and decided to go back to his study, thinking, "I shall go back to philosophy and study metaphysics," indicating his retreat into intellectual pursuits as a rejection to his emotional delusionment. As for conclusion from the student, overall, the student learned that harsh reality that love can be unreciprocated and that materialism often trumps genuine affection in the eyes of some. The story served as a critique of the superficial value that can dominate human relationship.
Hi, my name is Yasmina and I'm going to talk about the third moral values that comes from the girl in the story of the Nightingales and the Roses by Oscar Wilde. So the third moral values that the girl gave is ingratitude, which is shown in the story when she rejected the flower despite the tremendous efforts given from the student. As in the story, "I am afraid it will not go with my dress," she answered. "And besides, the chamberlain's nephew has sent me some real jewels, and everybody knows that the jewels cost me far more than flowers." The lesson can be learned from the girl is that failing to appreciate and value the sincere efforts and sacrifices of others can lead to missed opportunities for genuine connection and love. We can learn here that we should be appreciating someone's effort and we need to show gratitude to people. That's all for me. Thank you.